Hi everyone, Sandy here. Happy New Year. Welcome to my tutorial for the Country Craft Creations New Year's Eve crop. We're going to have a lot of fun. I am going to show you how to take a book, any old book. I'm of course using the Little Book of Bridgerton to go along with our theme for this crop. But any book that you want to take at about this size will work. I'll give you the measurements later when we start the tutorial. Grab your bits of lace, pretty elements, pearls, beads, trim, anything in your stash, some pretty papers that you have in your stash. You will want a few, probably 12 by 12 full sheets to make your signature pages, some copy paper that you might want to tea dye or ink like I do, and we're going to create a junk journal for the new year. We're going to have a lot of fun. Now, for my project, I did purchase a new book. This is not required. Any book that you have in your stash or that you have saved for junk journaling or picked up at a garage sale or whatever will work. This one's new, so I'm going to have to kind of loosen it up quite a bit. But this one is about 5¼ wide by 8 tall, so that any book that size, spine wise, doesn't matter. This one is 3/4 of an inch, and I'm going to cut that away anyhow. We don't need that. We're going to tear this book up. So have a book that you don't mind cutting apart to make your junk journal. I'm also going to be using the Country Craft Creations Victorian Teacups paper collection because I think it goes perfect with this theme. I have open packs. I don't have full collections. I'm using my stash, so I want you to also use papers that you have in your stash. I have the 8 by 8 and I have the 12 by 12, and I have some scraps of it because I've done other projects before. And then I went to my scrap stash, and I have this left over from I think it was the Betty Spring flip book I did with Country Craft Creation. So I have all these scraps. I think the colors kind of work, so I may use some of that. I went into my stash and pulled out different flowers, and I'm going to just kind of lay them into a little tray here. Blue, pinks. I won't necessarily use all of these, of course, because the book won't hold all of them. But I like to have an assortment from my stash of what's available that I might want to use or may not. So go ahead and do that if you have anything in your stash that you think you might want some flowers, because flowers are kind of important for a tea time thing, and the flowers we have here in the paper collection. So we've got that. I also went into my stash and pulled out, this is a whole pack of Prima lace from the Christmas collection a couple of years ago, Christmas market. It's Prima's I got from Country Craft Creations. Beautiful lace with some pink and mauve in there, so I thought that might work. I might use that. I have other laces, just plain lace, some with pearls, so I'm going to maybe use some of that. Now on my desk on the side here, I have this little bowl. I don't even know what's in it, that I just toss different things that I've received from Country Craft Creations that perhaps I've used or I didn't use that came in a kit. So this is just odds and ends that I may or may not use. But I thought I would have that handy. This is a real pretty little, some kind of charms. I don't know what they are, but anyway, that is something else that I might want to grab on. So those are my supplies. The only other thing I might add is some copy paper that I either most likely will ink up. So you're going to want to have some kind of ink in a kind of a brown color. Let me grab something real quick. So I grabbed my Distress ink and tea dye. I really like that. My inker here. And I also grabbed this Encore Gold, any kind of gold that you might have. I don't know if I'll use the gold, but I wanted to have it on hand just in case. Other things you might want would be like little safety pins, paper clips, T-pins, anything like that to kind of add to the add into the book. Now the first thing we're going to be doing is cutting this book apart. So you want to have a mat and a cutting knife. So this is pretty much the supplies. You don't need any cardstock, I don't think. So just your pattern paper, a real good quality like this from Country Craft Creations, and all your little bits and pieces that you might want to add in. Your book is going to be different than mine. I'm just going to work on it and then kind of do a voiceover showing you how to do it. The first part I will actually do with you, showing you how to cut apart a book. I've never done that before, so we're going to do it together the first time. So stay tuned. So the first thing we want to do is to cut out the pages from our cover, keeping our front and back cover. Of course, some of this will be covered up with pattern paper, not all of it, because I want to keep the Bridgerton image here on the front. Have your mat and your craft knife handy, and like I said, mine is a new book, so it is pretty tight in here, so I am going to bend it back and forth some to try to loosen up. And I've never done this before, so I'm going to give it a shot. I want to cut the pages off the cover. So I'm going to start up here where this fold is. I think that's going to be the easiest to do. And just kind of, it's made pretty well. This one's a new one. So you have an older book, it may be easier to cut apart. My blade is not very sharp or not, but I'm going to persist at this. Let's see, just kind of pull and see where I need to get it looser. There we go. I heard it crack there. It's glued in. A new book's going to be a little, I would think, a little harder maybe to get apart. So I may be kind of crazy tearing up a new book, but I wanted this cover. This is what I really liked about the book, and some of the pages, of course, I think would be fun in with the junk journal. So I'm just trying to get this loose where the glue is really, really tight right there. Now I'm not keeping the spine of this book. I'm going to be taking that off. So there's one side loose. This one I'll have to trim down or straighten out some. So I'm going to do the other side as well. So instead of using chipboard, we're using the book cover for the junk journal cover. Oop, that one came loose. Kind of keep them in order maybe. This is the back side here. Here we go. Ta-da! There's the book inserts. We saved that. We'll be using some of that. Now then, the next thing I'm going to do is I think I'm going to take it over to my trimmer because this is not real sharp. My big guillotine, I don't have it here where you can see it, but I'm going to cut the spine off right along these cover pieces, and then I'll be back. Okay, so I took this over to my big guillotine cutter and cleaned off, cut this off. I don't know if I'll use this. I'm going to just save it just in case. You never know. But so we have our front and back cover of your book, and you want to clean this off and make sure it's smooth. Now to make the spine, I want a soft spine. So this is my thoughts. This was a scrap I had. I cut it down. It's 8 inches tall by just a 1/16 under 4.5. That's the size scrap I had. So there it is. It's about 4.5. Okay. So I cut another piece. This is the one that's smaller. So 4.5. Yeah. And then from the cover sheet of the 8x8, because it's the same linen paper, I wanted an extra thickness here. So I cut that, and I'm going to glue that. Or you can use score tape, but I think glue will work fine. I want to have extra strength. So let me grab my glue bottle. There it is. And I'm going to put glue on this branding side, and use the white. Because we're going to be sewing through, unless you don't want to sew, then I will also tell you how to use just a ribbon for your signatures of your junk journal. But I do think I want to sew mine. So I'm going to glue this white background. It's all linen paper, line it up, and glue it down and burnish it really well. Like that. Okay, where's my bone folder or burnishing tool? Let's burnish it. Make sure it stays smooth because we're going to use that on our spine and it's going to be curved. So we're going to let that dry for just a bit. I'm going to get another inking brush that I want to use. So while I use this foam, I do need a new foam. That's the gold inking tool. This is my favorite for making things more vintage looking without putting too much ink. So it's a real soft inking brush. So take your ink, which, there it is. I've lost mine. Take your ink and ink the edges to kind of make it a little more vintagey looking. You can even chatter the edges a little bit if you wanted to. So I'm just going to get a little more ink on here. So you see, you can use it on the image, on paper, to also add some distress to it that way. So I like to do that, and then ink the edge. And then we're going to put this on the book cover. Okay. So let's take the back one first, and I'm going to glue it to the edge of the cover. So I'm going to put my glue on the cover, about 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch of glue here. Try to keep it kind of straight. And this is the spine, so I'm going to lay it right there. Now I'll probably also be adding lace to it some. I don't know yet. Part of the decorating. I'll burnish that down. So you got it looking like that. So the other side, oh, that's not it. The other side of the cover, I'm like, wait a minute. It's going to go right here. So the same thing, about 1/4 of an inch, no more than 1/4 of an inch line of glue. And it's going to go into some of the wording there. Can't help that. Just have to do what we have to do here. Let's see how close to the edge I can put it. I can still see the B. So of course your book's probably going to be different, so I'm making mine real narrow here because I want to keep as much as that, the word Bridgerton, the B, as I can. Though if I put lace, that will cover it up. So now I'm going to let this dry, and I'm going to do a little, I don't know, this is pretty slick book here, so inking it may not do any good. So I do need to let that dry for that. Okay, so we'll start planning our pages. For the front and the back. So this is a 12 inches wide. I cut it down. It was a 12 by 12 sheet. Cut it down to 10 3/4 because I'm going to fold it up at about 3 inches. So that's right there, thereabouts. So I want to go the other way, like this. Line it up on the side. You can use your scoreboard if you want to. I'm just going to fold it. It's going to be about, let's bring it up 3 inches, right there, lining it up right about there. So my first fold was not right, but that's okay. It is a junk journal, so any lines that you end up with from folding is okay. I'm off camera, aren't I? I'm going to burnish that down because I'm going to ink it, and I want it to look old anyway. Okay, So that's about a 3-inch fold. Yep. Now then we have it folded in half at 6, like this. So we're just going to make, I think, probably just one signature set, maybe more. I'll see. So this one like this is going to be pockets. So I need to open this up, and where the score line is, I'm just going to cut on each side of the score line up to the 3-inch line that I just scored. So I have kind of that little piece out like that. So that's going to be on each side of the fold, like that. And then this one, just slightly a little bit mitered towards that score line, so it's not sticking out too far, kind of like that. Okay, so that makes a pocket, which I'm going to take my glue, and you can do as many of these as you want. I don't know yet how many I will do. So you put glue just on the short sides, thin line of glue, bring that up and seal that up for a pocket. This side the same way. And so that goes in there like that. Very pretty with the roses. So I have folded up several sheets of the 8.5 by 11 copy paper. I kept the 11-inch width. I trimmed it down to 7 3/4. So these are going to be built in with this. And then some of my pages here, because I can't get the double out of the book because of the way it's glued in and not stitched. I'm going to find pages that I like and glue them down onto my white pages from this book. So you're just going to build up, and this is that remaining piece for the inside that was cut at 4.5 by 8, and I folded it in half. This is going to be the inside spine where we stitch to our pages to. So right now we're just going to build up our pages. So whatever papers you have that you want to cut down into this, you may want to make more pockets that way. Cut this down to 11 3/4 if you're using a full sheet, because once you fold it at 3, you could leave it at 12 and fold it up to whatever, so that the total height is about 7 3/4. So right here, it's my 3 right there. I'm just going to fold. Like I said, you can use a scoreboard if you want it perfect. I am not going to, and I'm going to decide which way I want this to go. So this is upside down, but that's okay because I will be probably gluing something on it. So I'm okay with that. So you just line them up even, start in the middle and burnish up to get that fold. And then of course remember to cut your pocket along the score line to get that fold in there. Cutting out the score line and a bit of an angle here so it doesn't stick out beyond where we want it. And we glue up the pockets. So the short sides of each one. So what I'm going to do now is, and some of these you may not want pockets on it, I'm going to just cut some down to the 7 3/4 height by 12 and do that. So that's kind of going to be like that. Cut that one wrong. What did I do? These pages are going to be 7 3/4. I didn't cut it down enough. So I'll cut it down to 7 3/4. No problem. I must not have cut off enough or cut the wrong side. I bet I cut the wrong side. So now I have 7 3/4. So that's the height. You can have shorter pages, but I wouldn't have anything taller than that. And they don't have to be perfect. So like I said, I'm going to be going off camera and getting a bunch of pages together. Then I will come back and show you how to sew them in. And then the decorating will be done like in a speeded up version. I will talk along with it, but I'm not going to, it's not going to be in real time because it will take forever for sure on that. So this is what I'm going to be doing right now is getting this together. Now, if you want some of these pages to be like tea dyed, and you don't want to do tea dyeing, what I like to do is crumple them up. I know this is kind of crazy. Crumple up my pages, open it back up, press it out. You can see the lines, and then I take my distress ink and this brush, and I start brushing over it where those lines are, and I make my own tea-dyed paper pretty much with just ink. And you can put as much ink as you want on them, really age them up. I'll show you just a second. And sometimes I'll add more after I put them in the book. See that? It doesn't show up real well. It's not real dark yet, but the more ink you put on it, the more it's going to look tea-dyed, especially when you start adding all your other elements to it. So you can also do that to your papers. See, I call that faux tea dyeing, because I'm very impatient and I don't like to wait for papers to dry. Though I like the tea dyed papers, but this works pretty well. And you can use darker ink if you want, if you have a darker ink. And you might be able to just actually do this to get darker ink on it. See that? So that gives us a darker look directly from the ink pad onto the paper on this side. Yeah, I like how that looks. Okay. There's some ink dyed paper. And we can just fold it in half and put it into our signature. Okay, so I'm going to keep working on my papers and get all those together, and then we'll be doing our stitching. So I wanted to show you real quick what I'm doing with some of the papers. So I took one of my copy papers that are folded in half, and then I took an 8x8 sheet of the printed paper and cut it down to fit, which is 5.5 by 7 3/4. Took the cover page from the book I have and just tore out the title, The Little Book of Bridgerton, and I'm going to glue that in for a page. See, I could put that on this cover page. I think I'm going to put that one on this cover page, like right here. So I'm just going to glue that on. So this is what I'm going to do with some of the pages out of the book. I'm either going to glue the whole page down or just parts of pages down onto the page, the sheets, the signatures that I'm adding into this book. So I added that like that. And then I'm going to do some inking to make it look, you know, it's supposed to be there. We can tell in junk journaling that things have been added in, and that's fine. Like that. So other things will be added on, like maybe other cutout fussy cut flowers, roses, some butterflies, whatever I find that I want to add in. So all these pages are going to be inked just like that. So that's how I'm going to use parts of the original book that I have into my junk journal. And I'm going to make tags and things. So like this one, I did glue that on there like that. I'm going to glue something else here on the inside. Like I like this piece of the purple that was from the original book. I'm going to just kind of glue that in there like that. So that's what I'm going to be doing off camera. I'm just going to be prepping my pages that are going to go into the signature. So remember to make it go into the book. The whole piece has got to have a fold in the middle. Like this. So this size is, what did I say? The 11 inch, cut down to 7 3/4. So that's how that one's done. And then you make pockets. So I had this page here. I'm going to tear this in half. I had it folded in half, but it's smaller than what I wanted. Right to there. I'm going to tear it right here at the teapot and the butterfly, like that. And I'm just going to make a pocket here. So I want to ink this before I glue it down on the edges. So to make them vintage, you do a lot of inking on junk journals. And then I'm just going to glue that right there on 3 sides. Leave the top open for a pocket. Now I'm going to try to keep my pockets flat. I'm not going to do them the traditional way. I don't want this junk journal to be too terribly thick. But the way it is here, we can, create a tag like this. Let me take one of these I've already got cut. So it can go inside like this. And we can cut it down or tear it down. Like that. Let me see here. I love this punch that I have for tags. I think this may be too wide. Let's see if I can get it in there. I love the top edge the way it does. So this is a little tall, and I'm just going to trim it down to fit. That, like I said, junk journaling does not have to be perfect. That's why a lot of people like junk journaling. You don't have to be measuring and all that. So I just cut bits and pieces here and there. I love the way this kind of has that scalloped edge there. I could have cut this piece down to fit that punch, but this is working just fine. So see, that goes in there in that pocket. Because this is something I will do after I get my pages in, but I did want to show you how you can add a tag to your pocket like that. And then we can add ribbon and stuff into there. So I'm just going to leave that one there for now. So I wanted you to see how I'm going to build up my pages and get this patterned paper and this particular, these pages into the book. So I'm going to look for different pages I may want to go in here. I know there's different ones with pictures and things. Like chapter 7 is Fashion, Darling. if we could get these out doubled, then I would use those. So I'm going to find some different pages to go in here, and I'm going to keep working on this. They don't have to be in order. I'm just going to rip that one out. And it can go like this on my page. And I can also just glue it so that you can tuck something inside there. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to glue on the two short ends and the long side. And glue this within the fold like that. And of course you're going to want to ink just like that. And then you could take a scrap paper that you might have and cut this to fit so that it's just on the edge of that to decorate that. So that just needs trimmed off a little bit. To slide in. Probably would have been easier if I'd done it before I glued it down, right? But that's okay. I'm going to get it in there. And it's just going to be an edge, so I don't need a whole bunch. I'm going to trim it down so I can use some of it other places. Just want a little bit of that rose print showing there. And where it's short, I can put lace or something on there to cover that up at the top and the bottom. Just want to give you some ideas of how you can go through and make some signature pages for yours. Okay, so that's looking different. Utilizing some of the book, and I need to add something there to the back, but that you get the idea of how to do. Get your signature pages ready to go and stacked together. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to put your pages in your book. Now, I have been having some computer issues with my videoing, so I tried something else, online recording, and well, it didn't work at all. It wouldn't save. So I actually recorded putting these pages in this book, and then I don't have it. So I'm going to back up. I'm going to do a mock-up to show you how to do it. So here on the inside, I have two signatures. So that's all we're going to do. And on the center, so here's signature 1 and signature 2. And on the center of each signature, I have an envelope where I hid the tying, where I tied off my pages with this envelope. So the first thing I'm going to show you is making a envelope with an 8x8. You either use an 8x8, the size from the collection, or cut your paper to 8x8. So I have cut one to 8x8. This one I've already got made. I'm going to make another one with the envelope punch board. It's really super easy. So with an 8x8 piece of paper, you look on your guide here, paper size, and I'm going to find it. I know it's here somewhere, 8x8, right here. So it's going to give me the 3.5 by 6 envelope, and I'm going to make my score line at 3 1/8. So I put this in with the direction, the top and bottom here like this. Line the edge at 3 1/8, punch it, take the scoring tool that comes with the envelope punch board, and do a score line. Now you line up your score line with this little tabby thing here. Punch, score, line up, right here. See the line on the score line? Punch. Bring it through the score line. Line up again. Make sure this is all flush up here. Punch and do that. So now we have the score lines and the envelope punched. I like to take my We Are Keepers punch and punch the top two ends like this. There is a punch on the back of this. I just like this one better. Now then, I'm going to decide. This folds up like this, and this one folds down. That's the way I want my roses on the inside, or do I want it the other way? Let's see how it looks the other way. If this goes up, see how we do it this way direction. So I do like that. Okay, I like that one. Okay, you're not going to see this inside one anyway, so it really doesn't matter if you use this for your in your book. So see, I already have two. So now what I do is I put my flaps down and I seal up these flaps here on the sides, like right there and right there. So now I have my envelope ready to use in my book. I have made several different sizes with my envelope punch board, which you can do too with scraps of paper. Here's another big one here that I can use in my book. If you don't have one of these, purchased envelopes will work just fine. You can just cut scraps of paper to pattern, add the pattern paper to them. But if you have the envelope punch board and you never use it, it's a good time to go ahead and use it because you can make some really, really pretty envelopes for your junk journals. Okay, so I have a template here that I kind of made. It is a 8-inch, and it was a scrap 8x4 because I just need the center part. And what I did is I drew or punched with my pokey tool. Is I took my ruler and about this top one, this little ruler, I don't know if I use this one or not. It's upside down, no wonder. Okay, line it up at the top. So I put one at 1 1/4 here, and then I spaced it out, but I actually only needed one row. So, you know, just one row of these is all you're going to need. So 1 1/4 from the top, 1 1/4 from the bottom, and then I divided it in half. So from the other one, this is 2 3/4 here in the middle. It doesn't have to be perfect because you're not going to see it. Okay, so let's pretend that these are the pages of the signature. So like what I did is I stacked down for signature 1, the one I wanted on the front, which has the pocket. Then I put a set of pages, so that's 1, 2. Then I put another page where I had glued on stuff. So that's that's 3, another copy paper, 4, the one with the pocket, 5, another copy page, 6, a short one, 7, 8, another 9, a built-in one, 10, 11, and that's the center. So I have 11 pages that are folded in half, stacked together. So it would be like this, 11 single pages stacked together, folded in half to get where that seam's going to be, okay? I hope this doesn't confuse you because I messed that other up. So you would have, I'm going to cut one of these away. You would have your whole templates. Just your one line where you punch your holes through, where you marked it with your pencil, then you take your pokey tool and you poke through. This gives you your spacing top to bottom, okay? So let's take the envelope. Which one do I want to use? well, it doesn't matter. I'm going to cut it out because I'm going to use it. I'm going to use it somewhere else, so I'm not going to keep it in this mock-up. So I'm going to lay it like this. So you want the fold of the envelope right here on the top of this. Now I take my little clip things, and I also have my piece that's going to go inside the book. I'm not attaching it to the book cover, I'm attaching it to this piece. So you want a piece that is at least 8 inches tall, the height of the book, and this one was 5 1/4, thereabouts. So this is what's going to be attaching the page to. So I laid this down. I did need the 2, but I'm just going to do one side at a time. So in the center of this, if it's laying attached to the book, I'm centering it side to side. And I want this page, it's the book cover. I wish I hadn't have messed up that video. Goodness me. Okay. I'm going to, I would have used my book cover. Yeah, and lay these down. So this is going to be like, say if I had my book cover where the center is, and this is the center, and I want these guys, my first one at about here. Okay, I'm going to figure it out. So I'm going to mark with a pencil, signature 1 holes, the 3 holes, like that. So you can see them here, here, and here. Then for signature 2, it would be about right there. Line it up, and I put the holes here, here, and here. I mark it with my template. So on this piece of paper here, you can see they're lined up, and they're about 7/8 inches apart in between here. So yeah, that's about right. Between here, that's that space. So this we're not going to pay attention to now, but that's how I did my holes on this piece of paper. This is the backing paper. So I go through here to make it easy and punch these holes. 1, 2. If you have it all, it'll make bigger holes. But if you just have a pokey tool like this, that's fine. They're going to be kind of lined up across from each other, just like that. So now we have the holes in this piece. So now we want the paper, the fold of our paper. Say we're doing the first one. I'm just going to show you one. We're going to line the fold of it where those holes are. And I'm going to open this up, keeping these straight. I'm going to clip these pages right on this paper. So I've got to center them. Yours may need centered, they may not. About like that. Okay. So clip that on. Top and bottom. Now then, you're going to need to put this in here. So we have these pages clipped to the backing, and then we have this here. This is going to line up here. Now to hold it in place, I took temporary tape that I can rub off, and I lined this up, centered the fold of the envelope to the fold of the page where you want it to be, like that. Okay, so now that's ready. Let's get our needle. Where did I put my needle? I use a really big needle. You can pick these up in a sewing department. You've got a big eye, but it's really thick. And I am using wax thread. I bought this years ago for junk journaling. I've used it sometimes. Sometimes I just use regular thread. If you're going to use a regular thread, you want like embroidery thread, where it's really thick, or like the jute twine. This is great because it's waxed, and it's when you tie it in a knot, it's going to stay in a knot. So I just cut off a good amount of that. Now then, if you don't want to sew your pages in, you can just do the ribbon trick, and I'll show you really quick that. So I've got this pulled about like that. If you want to just use ribbon, you would lay this ribbon where it needs to attach. It's not going to be as secure. And then you would tie it here in the center as tight as you can. Tie a knot, maybe secure it with glue, and then seal your envelope shut. That's if you want to do ribbon instead of stitching. If you're a beginner, you might not have any of the sewing stuff. So here we're going to take this template. If you're going to sew, I'm going to scoot this over. I'm going to line this up at the top and the bottom, right on. You want the holes, and I'm going to fold them so that my holes, I can see where I'm lining it up on the fold of the page. And then I take my pencil and I mark in that hole where it's going to go. Let's see if it catches the envelope right about 1/4 of an inch or so. And you want to make sure it's on the fold line. So now we're going to take our needle and string, and where that center hole is, you're going to poke all the way through. If you want to use your pokey tool first, you can flip this over and make sure it's going all the way through. So it may hit those holes I already did, and it does not, and that's okay. That's okay. You want to just make sure we're getting it on the fold line of all these pages on this envelope. So you really don't have to punch that first hole as long as you get everything lined up. Just be careful with your fingers back there. Don't leave your fingers back there. You don't want to bleed and everything. So take your needle now and poke it in that hole you just made in the center. It's going to be really tight because you're going to have more pages than what I've got right here. And pull it through so that the tail can be clipped here on the side. You don't want to lose it. You can clip it. You can tape it. Make sure it holds. Now we're going to turn this over, poke through the hole on the seam there, back up through like this. Pull it, take it, and go back down to the bottom. Some people do double stitching and everything. I'm just going to do the one. Pull it real tight like that, then poke it back up the middle from the outside. Right here, pull it in, take it off the needle, clip this one, and then you tie them in a knot. Now if you want to straddle the one that you just put, this is the long one, just take this in like that. That way you have one on each side of it, and then you tie the knot. And you see the wax thread really hangs. Stays stuck together. But like I said, if you don't have wax thread, don't worry about it. You can still do this. Just get you some embroidery thread, whatever color you want to use. And I cut it kind of short like that. And then remove this, remove your sticky, the temporary stuff off. Just wipe it off on each side. Lift it up. Now then, where this flap is, we're going to put glue. And if you're not using wax thread, then you might want to put a little glue on that knot to make sure it stays secure. And then we're going to close the envelope up, burnish it. And what that does is it seals up that thread there so it's not going to come undone. So that just makes a little page there in the center. Unclip all these guys. Fold it. Match. So there is your one of your pages in. Just need to kind of line them up better and get that folded in there like that. And then you would go ahead and attach your other page set, not to these holes, but to this one right here. So then you would have two page sets attached. You have one here and one here, right here, to this piece here. And then that you take, open up your cover. This is what I glued to the inside of my page. This way I don't have any strings on my outer part. So I glued the back of this, once you have your other stitched in, glue on all of this, and then glue that to the cover that you already have. Just make sure you extend over here and catch it on both sides. And now we have it nice and flat. It's got a double thickness in there, and there's our pages. So it's really easy to do. I apologize again that I messed up on that video. If it happens to show up. What it was a saving process, not saving itself. Then I will maybe use some of it so that I can show you what I did. So I'm just cutting away this thread so that I can grab my envelope. And I can use it somewhere else, though I've sealed it shut. I can use it as something else. Okay, so that is how you stitch them in. But like I said, if you don't want to stitch them and you want to just use that ribbon, you can do that. It just won't be as tight and as secure. And so the next thing I'm going to be doing is decorating. Now, the thick flowers are for the front of the cover. You know, like all of that. That's going to be done last. So what I have here, let me show you what I have done off camera is, like I said, I made some envelopes that I can use in different places if I want. I have made some tags. I added some doilies to some tea-dyed doilies that I had. So I've got some tags. I've got scraps of paper, different sizes. I took the pages of the book and I cut out into squares what I wanted to glue in. Some pages I did whole. Some of these pages, let me show you. Like this one, I took a plain strip of white and I joined them together, this page and this page. See, it's got the little strip there. And I made them so that they could be, well, not that page, this stuff I want. This, I don't know where it is. It is this page. So this is one page, this side and this side. So that if you have some full pages from the book, you can do that. Then I've cut up pieces of the book, and then I have bigger pieces to make pockets. So I'll be doing all that, adding some embellishments from my stash, and I'm just going to be doing that on camera at a speeded up clips, and I'll add voiceover talking in it so I can explain what I'm doing. I'll be doing some inking. So basically that is your junk journal. All you have to do now is decorate it and add things, fun things, pockets, tags, and all that in there. So I'm going to keep working on it. Just if you want to join me, I may add some music to it. I don't know. We're just going to keep playing with this. I hope you're having a great time for your New Year's Eve, having a crafty good time, and New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, whichever time slot I've been assigned to. So I hope you're enjoying this holiday and getting ready for the new year. So we'll keep on working on it. So to create pockets for this junk journal, I'm just going to use scraps of paper like I did here on the inside cover. You cut or tear them to fit, and then just glue on the two sides and across the bottom. And then I decided to put a tea stained doily that I had in my stash on the front of it and fussy cut out this flower. So it's really pretty easy. Just go through your junk journal now that your pages are in and add bits of lace. Like here, I thought here on the spine side of the front cover, the lace with pearls would be pretty. And then I decided to tie some ribbon around the cover and have a bow on the outside. So you decorate yours the way you want. Now I have speeded up this video to 10 times the normal speed because I think the total video clips was like 6 hours in this decorating. So if you don't want to watch all of this, and sometimes I do get off camera, you can just go ahead and skip through to where you can see where the album's finished, and that is at 1 hour 56 minutes 38 seconds. So just scoot on over towards the end and then you can watch that. Now here I just did some vintage Scotch tape. To do that, I take a backing sheet like from my score tape sheets that I keep, and I put this gift wrap tape, the clear tape, on those, and then I use the ink, liquid alcohol inks to make them look aged and wipe it off. You can also use distress ink if you don't have that. I love using the Scotch taped, like papers are taped in to make it look like it's really old. So that's just an option. If you don't want to do that, you know, you can skip that. But like I said, you put the tape on a backing that you can peel it up and add the alcohol ink and kind of wipe it off. You don't want it real dark or, you know, heavily stained. Or you can brush the tape over the tape with your distress inks or a light brown color. So here I have made a little charm piece where I took the lace, put a pin in it, a safety pin, added the charm to the safety pin, and then glued a flower on top. So I realize that this is really fast watching me do this, but otherwise, like I said, it took about 6 hours of recording. I just turned the camera on and worked on it through the course of several days. So what that means is you may have assembled your junk journal, got your cover and your pages in it, and you just don't have time to decorate it right now, and that's fine. You can come back to it during the month, weeks, even during the year, and add to it. And what I like to do is, like when I finish up with a design team project and I have some ephemera pieces left or stickers, I just go through and take my junk journals that I've been working on throughout the year and just add those in to the ones that it goes with. So these are not all from the same collection. Like the butterflies and pieces, some are 49 in Market that I had left over. So I put Tim Holtz stuff in my book. I'm using like this pink dotted paper is from the scraps are left over from when I made the Betty's Spring flip book with Country Craft Creations. So you use different papers that you have that go together, and it just really makes your book a lot of fun. And so if you finish the cover and you've added your pages in and you want to set it aside, that's great. You can come back to it later and you know, add stuff to it and move on to some of the other New Year's Eve projects that you might want to work on. I do show you how to do the cover. I do that in real time. So that is, you can find that at 1 hour, 34 minutes and 30 seconds. So you can skip over to that and watch the actual making of the cover. I also slow this down at 1 hour, 24 minutes, 27 seconds and show you how to make a stacked flip embellishment tag. So watch the parts that you want and create as you have time, and have a wonderful time. And I do give you some more information toward the end. So I'm just going to quit talking because it's all repetitive. It's just adding in different pieces of the tape, gluing papers in the way I want it. Yours is going to look totally different. And remember, the pockets in this type of junk journal, keep them flat. You don't want any that are thick. So when they're flat, it's just like a piece of paper that's cut to fit your pocket, or you can tear the top edge or all four edges and ink it and then just glue it on the two sides and across the bottom. And then you can slip a couple of tags and things inside it that way. So I'm going to pick out some music that you can listen to if you want to watch all this, or skip forward to the pieces, the parts that I told you, like the stacked flip embellishment tag is 1 hour, 24 minutes. The decorate the cover 1 hour 34 minutes, and the walkthrough at the end is at 1 hour 56 minutes 38 seconds. So enjoy. Thank you.
It's you I'm dreaming of. Every moment with you feels like a gift from above. Forever and always, you're the one I adore. In your love I find my forevermore. Find my forevermore, the more. Through every storm, you're my guiding light. In your eyes I see the stars align. With you I'm whole, with you I'm complete. In your love my heart finds its beat. Love, sweet love, it's you I'm dreaming of. Every moment with you feels like a gift from above. Forever and always, you're the one I adore. In your love I find my forevermore. In your arms I feel alive. With you I soar and thrive. A love story written in the skies. In your love my spirit flies. Love, sweet love, it's you I'm dreaming of. Every moment with you feels like a gift from above. Forever and always, you're the one I adore. In your love a love story in mid-free storm. You're my guiding light. In your eyes I see the stars align. With you I'm whole, with you I'm complete. In your love my heart finds its beat. Everyone, sweet love, it's you I'm dreaming of. Every moment with you feels like a gift from above. Forever and always, you're the one I adore. In your love my finds its beat. Every walk, it's you I'm dreaming of. Every moment with you feels like a gift from above. Forever and always, you're the one I adore. In your love my heart finds its beat. Love, it's you I'm dreaming of. Every moment with you feels like a gift from above.
I've really been working on this junk journal, adding in lots of stuff, but I thought I'd take a break and come in and show you making a stacked embellishment for it. I'm going to use scraps for this, different scraps, patterned papers. I'll see what all else I have. So I want this to fit into a pocket that I'm going to make, and it's kind of, these papers are all similar, but I'm going to tear some of them down. And so you're just going to take your scraps. We're going to start stacking different scraps up like this. Let's put this one here between, like here and here. Just take a look at them. Try to find some scraps maybe with different colors to it, like this blue here. I'm just going to tear this edge a little bit. Stack it like that. We need the music note for sure. Okay, so just kind of little bits of this and that. Move this one here, this one staggered here. Just stack them up, different scraps for your junk journal. Kind of get it straight there a little bit. Maybe this one needs to be a little shorter. Okay, so let's put this one to the left, then this pink one here, this blue, music notes, and I like another short piece, maybe of flowers or something. This roses here. Okay. Now then I want to see about adding in these. I'm going to lay this down for a minute. It's kind of cool, but it needs to be on a piece of paper that we can save that one. I have a backing on. I'm going to lay it on this one here. Okay. Take my scissors and just cut around that. It just needed, it's a sticker, so I needed to convert it into a piece of paper like that. I think that'll work. Let's see here. You don't see my roses much there. Okay, like that. Maybe, do I have something else short or not? We'll do some lace. A little bit of lace here. Okay, so I've got the lace and that. So this to the left, this one to the right, this one to the left. Okay. Kind of stack it so I can see some of the other one behind it. Music note. And this one here. I like that staple looking, but I'm going to fold it over and put this lace on it like this. And then I'm going to staple it through all the thicknesses. So that's just a real easy embellishment to tuck in a pocket on your junk journal. Of course, you know, if you want to ink it, you can. Just kind of ink some of the edges that you can see. It's a great way to use up your scraps. Just make you some stacked embellishments, staple them together, add a little bit of lace. May add some more something on the top here, like that. Let's see, what else have I got? I've got some of these circles here. Be Heart Day. This one that says us. I like that. us trying to keep it pretty flat for the book. I didn't go through. The book's getting real chunky, but there we go. So it's just a little tag thing. You can round these bottom corners if you want on the last one. Trying to make it finished looking. I never get that one lined up right. There we go. Ink those corners. That one needs done a little more. Okay, there we go. Round it. Ink it on the corners so that it kind of shows up. So you can flip them up and look at them all. So I'll find a spot for it in the book. So I just wanted to pop on and show you that really quick. Let me move that up so you can see what I'm doing. If you've got room for thick things in your book, you could add a button here instead of this circle. But I do like the way that looks. And it's just made out of scraps. Lots of fun. So flip embellishment tag to go in your junk journal. I think the inside of my junk journal is finished for now. That's the great thing about junk journals, though. You can go back in and add some more. As you can see, it's pretty chunky, but I like my junk journals that way. So now I'm ready to work on the outside cover. So I'm going to flip it over to the back, and I cut this piece of paper. I decided I didn't want all this writing, though I like the image of Penelope, and I don't remember his name, but I really like this piece of pattern paper here too. So I am going to glue that on, and this piece is 8 inches tall by 4.5. And I did ink the edges, so I'm going to glue that on right quick. Make sure to get glue right along the edge, since this is going to be on the cover. Okay, I'm going to line it up down here. Other one, even, because my section was crooked a little bit. Okay, that's good. Burnish that down. Now then, I may put something here, like a bit of that lace. That's pretty. Whatever you have that you might want to put on there. So I'm just going to cut this right here. And I'm going to put a good amount across that seam where it joins. About the width of the lace. Okay. Lay this on there. If I need to, I will trim some after it dries. I'm going to press that down with my fingers, and I'm going to let that dry now. After it dried, I cut the end that was sticking out over, and I'll show you here. There's a little bit sticking here, and then I'll show you what I did to finish off the trim. So I make sure that anywhere it might not have been glued down good, I put glue on it, and I put glue on the trim on the bottom. I just rub it in to get those fibers kind of glued together. It will dry clear. And there is the trim on the back. I like that a lot. That's really, really pretty like that. So the front, I may do that too. I'm not sure. I'm going to wait on that because now the book is like this, where it's got the double signatures in there. It fits in there fine, but it does have that little gap in like that. So if you don't like that and you want tie closure, there's a couple of options. You can do a big long ribbon wrap where you double wrap it around and tie it in a bow here. Those are really popular with junk journals. I think on mine I'm going to attempt to do a tie one here on the side and on the front and the back. And I've got some eyelets here. Let me grab my crocodile. Hopefully you have one of these. So I'm going to use the bigger hole right there. And let's see here. Oh, also another thing that I did is I took a sanding block that I have, and I did sand the edges to kind of get that shiny stuff off of my book. Yours may be different. And then I took my distress ink, and where I sanded it, I inked it to give it kind of that aged look on the edge. So I haven't finished it here because I wanted to show you how I did it. So I just used my sanding block to sand that, the blue shiny part of the book, kind of rough it up, and then take your whatever ink you're using and just ink it up. That. So I think I did that also on the back, or did I not do that yet? Let's see here. Let's do a little sanding. That's so that it gets down to the whiter part of it, and we can ink it that way, or it will hold the ink better. Okay, I like that. I'm going to do the edge of the paper. I had already done mine, but just to show you a little bit of inking in different places to kind of vintage it up some. So that is my sanding block that I used. Now then, let's do our cover. So it's 8-inch cover, and if I want a 4-inch center here, like that, I'm going to put a mark right there. That's about 1/4 inch in. I'm going to take my Crop-A-Doll, the largest hole, and it should go through this cover, this hardback cover like that. Yep. Here we go. Can't live without my Crop-A-Doll. I have the big bite and this size. So the big bite is the one that will reach further. Now then, I am going to do an eyelet on this one, this side, for my ribbon. So I just poke that in. I'm using kind of a vintagey brass color, I guess you would call it. I thought it was black, but it's more of a vintagey, which is a perfect color. Oh, and I also did add a strip of that washi tape here. I just thought the black was really pretty. I covered up some wording there I didn't want, and I just did that. So anyway, let's take our crimping tool here. Let's open this up, see if I can do it on the camera, and fit this in, and just squeeze, and it did just fine. Now I have cut off 2 colors. I crinkled it with water. I had the pink and kind of a brown color. I have different from what's on there. I'm fine with that. And I cut 2 of each color. So I may have more than I need, but I can go into the book and add it to some of my tags. Where did I cut? About 22 inches. So I'm going to thread from the outer side into the inside of the book, both pieces if I can. It's easier to do them together. Sometimes you might have to put some glue on them to kind of stiffen them up, but I think I was able to twist them and get them going. And I bring it around on the inside, and I'm going to tie a knot like that. Tie a couple of knots to get a really big knot. I think I'm going to fix the one on the back. I'm not going to do the eyelet. I don't think. I need to line these up. I have 2 knots now instead of a big knot. Let's see if I can. Okay, that's probably better there. See, it's a big enough knot that when I pull on it, it's going to sit right like that. It's not going to, and then I can also glue it underneath to secure it if I want to. So that's that way, and then I'm going to see how long I want to keep my tails and tie them in a knot. So on this side, if you want, you could do the same thing. Pocket is close to the edge, so I was thinking of just gluing mine on the back to show you that you can do that. So across from this one, I'm going to put some glue right here. I'm going to put down the brown one, add some glue, put down the pink. So you could do this on the front as well. There's just different ways you can do your closure. But this one, what I've done is I have cut out another one of these smaller from the 8x8 frames, the teapot, I'm just, loosely, I didn't do it perfect. Fussy cut the oval, the frame out. And I'm thinking I like it right there. But before I do that, I'm going to take a piece of this washi tape and I'm going to lay it across that ribbon and just tear it. And it doesn't have to be straight or anything. It's just for looks, okay? And then I'm going to glue this down completely to secure it. Now the reason I didn't do that on the front is because I'm going to do some decorating on the front and I didn't want anything on that edge to distract. But here on the back, this is all that's going to be on the back. Just like that. It just kind of goes with the flow. Maybe I'll straighten that a little bit. Flow of a junk journal like that. So I think that's pretty. I like that. So we've got the trim there. So let's flip it to the front. And let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and glue my knot down. Simply because I don't want it to, come loose or anything. I just want to secure it. And I'm going to cut those ribbons just a little bit more. I don't know if I can make it where you can see it like that. Okay. So that should secure that down. I'll check it again and make sure. But I'm going to take this. I'm going to tie my bow, my closure. That. I like a pretty good size bow. Vintagey and crinkly. And then I look at these and I kind of like them long. So I'm just going to tie a knot, the two together on the end like that. Trim it off. And this one. And trim it off. Save that, I might need that. So those are real pretty like that. You can put more ribbons if you wanted to for your closure and your junk journal. So now we're ready to decorate this. So I did like that trim on the back. Beautiful trim. Let's see what I can do here. I don't want to cover up the B. Straighten this one up. It's kind of got a bump to it to fit so that it goes like that. So you can still see the B, and then we have that trim. Okay. So the glue goes here mostly. Down the edge. The width of the trim. And if you notice, I use art glitter glue for everything. I don't like Fabri-Tac. I don't know, it clogs up on me and it's stringy. I have a Weir Keepers glue gun, but I don't use it that much. I don't like glue strings. And this works fine for me. I just let it dry. So I position that so that that B is right there in that fold, and then I bring the rest over, press it down, and I'm going to let it dry, and we'll trim it off like we did the other one. Okay, so I think it's dried enough, so I'm going to trim the bottom here. And of course the top, because I still have more of this trim. Go. And then we want to take the glue and we want to make sure it is glued all the way to the end, and then add glue on those fibers. Kind of press it into them. Like I said, it will dry clear. It did on the back, so you can't even tell. On this top side, that one's glued down good, so I just need to do the fibers on the end to seal it up. Works great. have it on the inside and I didn't do it, so I'm going to add a little bit on that on the inside too. Okay, so now there's that. Now I'm ready to start doing some decorating with flowers. If you like your book plain like that, go for it. I want to keep the unofficial, my dear. I want to keep the Little Book of Bridgerton and the Regency World of Bridgerton laid bare by Charlotte Brown. I like that. Have this little bit of black here that I did back here. I have a bit of this lace. This lace is beautiful. And I'm thinking I'm going to trim it down some. And what I'm going to do is lay out possibly. This is from my stash. It's a cluster of flowers already put together, like, different prima flowers with a little bit of ribbon, which I need to trim just a little bit at an angle. Hadn't done that. I don't like that the other way. Okay. Wrong direction. And this one here. Okay. And then it's got some leaves and stuff in it. It comes with Grab It 45 flowers. It's just a combination that I put together. Sometimes you can buy them this way. I like the different pinks and a little bit of purple. Got different colors going on here, so I'm going to lay that there like that. And I don't know if I want any paper in there also. Just a bit of it's going to show. Let's tear a little bit on the end, about like that. Let's ink it, get some of that vintage color in there. Like that. And then the flowers will go on top. Can you see much of the paper? A little bit. So let's go for it. Let's glue this ribbon down, or the lace about where I want it. Put a good amount here in the middle. And I'm going to lay it on here. Bring it down off his face. Maybe put a little on the edge where it's going to touch the other lace. Get them to hopefully stick down. Okay, the paper. Center it there. It's going to need a lot of glue. I forgot on that lace it needs a lot of glue to grab. So that's going to have to dry like that. Now these, we're going to put a lot of glue on the back of this solid piece here. Maybe a little bit where the petals are and on the leaves. And let's attach it so that just a little bit falls over onto him, and you can still kind of see a little bit of that paper, not much, just a tiny bit in there, like that. Then I had some blue flowers. I'm going to bring in the blue. So I'm going to put right there. I'm going to put some glue right there. And stick that in kind of on an angle so it's not perfectly flat. Oh, let me scoot up. I put it on at an angle and push it in. I don't want it perfectly flat in there. Do I have another one? I had a big one. It's kind of pretty maybe. If I don't like it, I'll pull it up. I'm going to bend it like that and then put my glue on. And see if I can get it to kind of stick in a little. There. See how I do that on the side? That way it's not flat down, but it's on its side. And then I have this third one. Small one. I think it'll go up there. I'm going to fold it up a little bit too. Put my glue on the back. and then stick it in and let that all dry. Now I'm thinking maybe of putting a safety pin. I have one here somewhere. I thought about using these. These are pretty too, but I didn't, so I'm not going to use those. Okay, so I like the flowers the way they are. I'm not going to put any ribbon or anything in there with them. Yeah, I think I'm going to use that little safety pin and maybe hang a charm on it, kind of down in there. That would be pretty because I had that in there. And then do I want any other kind of lace? Pearl. Maybe with that. So I'm going to just cut one piece of my pearl lace, and I'm going to put my pin in there. And I'm going to go in search of a charm. Okay, so I took that little bit of lace with the pearl on it, and I pinned a butterfly charm on a jump ring with this little safety pin. So I think I'm just going to glue it in here. Right, all about here. Put plenty of glue. Grab it like that. Just kind of tuck it in there. Just a dab of lace and a pearl. So that's kind of pretty like that. And I think that is it for this junk journal. Now, like I said, junk journals are not always finished. You can go back through the pages, add a few more pieces of paper, some tags, journaling lines, just whatever you want. Anytime you think about it, you find something, a pretty rose or butterfly you want to add into your book, you can do it at any time. So yeah, that's it. Let's take a quick peek at it here on the end before we finish the tutorial, close up this video. So I hope you've had fun creating a junk journal. If you've never made one before, they're kind of addictive because you can just use your bits and pieces and you don't have to, you know, plan, measure. You don't even have to measure if you don't want to. So here's the cover, of course, that we just did. Love how that turned out with the back. We've got these lace and ribbon hanging here on the spine. And then when it opens up, I have the pocket in here with some tags that I added in. I added a flower to this one because on the inside here there's more room. A doily. I liked using my tape. I do have one left. I might stick somewhere. This is a charm here on a pin. The pages. I have pockets, tags, envelopes, like that. Here I've got a piece of Scotch tape still left. I'm going to put this one. I don't want to waste anything. Tear this one off if it will come up. I didn't put it on the sticky side. That's why I didn't see it. It's on the back of the back side. I may not be able to peel it off. Let's see if we can. There we go. Okay. So we've got a piece of the vintage Scotch tape. And I think I'm going to put it here on this rose right here on the bottom. I love the vintage look that gives to stuff. So of course this tucks in back here like that. Turn the page. You can add more ink if you want to. If you're going along and you're like, that one needs a little more ink. Maybe the brushing was too light. You just can, you know, go through it as you're looking at it and add whatever you want to your pages. Maybe a couple more stickers, what have you. I don't think I inked any of that right there. Okay, maybe here on the side right here where it's kind of tattered looking. Don't want anything that looks perfect really. So this has a little envelope tucked in there, a little booklet that you untie. More tags from the pockets. Just make flat pockets wherever you want. As I go through, I see little bits of paper that I've snipped here and there. Another pocket here with twine stapled on. Another pocket. I had a piece of this acrylic, patterned acrylic. It was just a scrap left over from a project, so I tucked that in there. the acrylic butterflies I had in my stash. These are Tim Holtz short flap. I want to trim this one down a little bit right here. Go. Tag there behind that frame. A bit of lace on the edge of the page, just really pretty sticking out. Pages do not have to be the same width. This is a photocopy of an old photo. More tuck spots and pockets. There we go, like here. I did this off camera. I added this photo and a little bit of paper with some ribbon behind it to kind of decorate that page up. I thought it was kind of plain. Added the lines. I don't think I did that on camera. So there we have a lot of stuff tucked in that one. Tuck spot here. Journaling lines. Just add those wherever you want to. Like on this one, I could add journaling lines or leave it plain for a photo. I could add journaling lines to that one. This is a start of your second signature. So I have a lot of stuff tucked in there. Some of the pages from this original book. Just glue in all sorts of things. They don't have to come from the same collection. You can just add things in that you might have. I like to, like you saw, hang on to stuff left over from other projects. Tea Please, I added that in, some lines there. Tuck spot here with the butterfly. Wrap some twine around his body. Some of the lace and pearls. Here's a clip with a butterfly. Paper clips. More photos. These are all Tim Holtz photos from my stash. Victorian Teacups, a little frame here with a bird in it. Another butterfly. Lots of tuck spots here. You can utilize lace on them if you want. And you just kind of wiggle them in there. Some pages I just left for the pattern paper. I thought it was pretty. There's a tag. More. So lots and lots of places to put stuff. So I think on that other one a while ago that I saw, I was going to add some lines on it. I haven't done that. This one I like to leave plain because I like the splatter on that. Pocket and the inside back cover. So yes, that's the tutorial for this New Year's Eve crop with Country Craft Creations. I hope you've found a book to make a junk journal with. If you've never made one before, I hope you give it a try and see how you like it. It's a lot of fun. It's kind of freeing where you can just, you know, do your own thing. You don't have to do what I did. I just showed you some tips and ideas, or you can watch the speeded up version of what I did. And here I'm just going to draw some more lines with my fine tip pencil. I'm going to make them kind of wide on this one, like a 1/2 inch wide. I'm using my little lines for a guide. They don't have to be perfect. They don't have to start and stop at the same time or place, rather. So they can be like an even, short, long combined. Super simple to do. So I hope you watch the other videos as well as mine. There's lots of fun projects for this event, for this free New Year's Eve crop to ring in 2025, which we hope to do more crafting. So that's how you do that, like that. And check out everybody's tutorials for this free crop and join in on the games and have a great time. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. It's super easy to do. You can click on that little symbol down below in the bottom corner. I can't point to it. Right down in there. I'm sorry. In the description, you can click on that. Subscribe to my channel so you'll know when I have a new project uploaded. I look forward to 2025, making more crafts for special events and for my regular design team project. And as always, check out countrycraftcreations.com for your crafting supplies. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful new year. Bye-bye.